What's going on here? No.
Hello there, Sir from 17 once again, introducing you to my Black Ops 2 Veteran Difficulty video walkthrough. This is the mission 10, Cordis Die. That's me butchering, I believe, Latin, but it's all good, because I'm picking weapons and I'm once again using something that you've not seen so far, which is the Type 25. I also now have access to the most overpowered gun in any Call of Duty campaign, and that is the sniper rifle. I can't remember its name, it's like Pulsar something silly, but now that you have that sniper, you will not want to use any other gun unless you're in close range or unless you want to do something slightly different. This sequence here, you hear them spawn, it makes a pop 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 sound, which is the best way I can describe it. Once they've done that, if you wait until you've got a lock on all of them, you can generally bring them down in one burst. But just, you know, you don't have to take your time, you don't have to be quick, you can just kind of do it at your own pace, and I've never failed this section. I think Treyarch have finally realised that, you know, on-rail turret sections are supposed to be enjoyed and not supposed to be the most frustrating thing ever created on Veteran, and that is a good lesson to know, so it makes me a happy panda. But once you've done that, you're going to recognise a lot of this mission from the E3 demo, purely because this is what they displayed, this is what they chose to show, and this is the second to last level, which, I don't know how you feel, but to me that's a disservice to the game, because you're selling it under a false pretense. Because don't get me wrong, this does happen, but it happens so bloody late that you don't have any context for it when you see it early. Like, I thought this was going to be mission 1, I thought this was at least going to be maybe a quarter through the game. You know, a bit of backstory, everything goes to shit, and then everything else is post LA falling. And instead, you know, we don't get much at all. And this is another thing they lied about. When they were showing this, they kept saying, like, Mark Lamier, all those heads at Treyarch, we're going to give you all these choices, we're going to give you all these responsibilities in the campaign, and aside from choices a la, do you shoot the guy in the face or do you not shoot the guy in the face at a specific plot moment, the only choice in this game is that one just then. Do you snipe or do you repel? That could have happened on every single level, but it doesn't. And they made out like they were making these, you know, extremely diverse levels where you're going to have this ability to interact on decisions, and you don't. And that to me is completely false advertisement. It's... And the worst thing is, I was enjoying the campaign so much I didn't even realise I'd been screwed. It was ridiculous. I'm one of those women that goes for a shit and ends up having a kid. Just baffling. But they promised so much, and I realised on this mission that they lied. And don't get me wrong, you know, a game developer lying about something in their game, that never happens. Only it does, far too often, unfortunately. But this is the sniper rifle of doom, and think of it like this: when you hold the trigger, you can do 5 bars. You can hold the trigger when you're not scoped in to charge it while you're waiting, but you can't run. And I would not do that too often, because the moment you start charging, a grenade lands next to you, you can't run away, and you die. But how this generally works is, do you notice how there's that little netting, the grid, the digital grid that's displaying where the bullet's going? If it's red, the game generally believes you cannot make that shot. You will not penetrate whatever it is on red. If it's green, it's a successful shot. But don't listen to it, because the amount of times I hit shots when it's red is pretty much every other shot. So just treat it that if it's quite a distance through quite a surface, make sure you've got a full charge, because half the time you get lucky with it and it still hits. And the one thing to bear in mind is, when you get a full charge, it will use 5 bullets rather than 1. Every charge in between is an additional bullet, and this thing has 600 rounds. 600 rounds, guys. You're not going to use all that unless you're completely whoring it like I do, and by the time you do, you're going to get a refill anyway, so very simple. This sequence right now, you do not have to keep shooting the guys, you can just jump in the truck, but I wanted to kill, because killing's my business and business is good. But here's another impromptu driving section. It could have been a lot longer. I don't often say, boy, I wish the driving sections were a little bit longer, but this is one of those games that really might have benefited from it. But at the same time, there's an interesting pacing on this campaign, which I definitely think is good pacing. Modern Warfare 3 kind of lost the pacing for me because every 30 seconds something was blowing up, a train was derailing, someone was dying, something was slow motion, even if it was something mild like an old lady turning a magazine page. It was all overly dramatic, and this game manages to make the dramatic moments actually have some heft, actually have some weight, and narrative is much more difficult in games than people think, which is why I always give props to BioShock, because it was one of the finest twists and the finest setups in gaming history. This is a bad checkpoint right here. I'm in trouble, so I throw the EMP to stun the tank and then I shoot it. I throw another EMP and then I shoot it. This way, he does not have the recovery time to actually hit me in this spot. Even though right there it doesn't look like the EMP did anything, which is bad news. But rule of thumb, 3 fully charged sniper shots will kill those tanks. If you don't want to waste your sniper rifle, there are RPGs, but I'm not a fan of anything that has a mind of its own once you fire it, so I'm not the biggest fan of RPGs at all. And the rest of the game, from this moment onwards, guys, is going to be a lot of this. So I do apologise if you wanted to see me running and gunning and, bossing it, but look how easy this is, how safe this gun is. You sit behind cover, you charge the powerful gun, and they die. And you can have a lot of fun with it, because it's essentially a sniper rifle, and everybody loves sniping, so this is your opportunity to show everybody your elite skills and your awesome, 360 YY ladder cancel, ladder stalls, whatever you want to call it, which you will not see me doing. You'll see me do a couple of jump shots, but that's the extent of my ability. But I think this is my favourite level of the game, and I wish there was more like it. Because I really enjoy going through, cities that feel like shit is gone to hell and shit is still going to hell. That's the type of stuff I enjoy the most. Because I love domestic environments that are ruined. I love going through big office buildings that are all messed up. I think that's really cool. And that was one of my favourite things about Modern Warfare 3's campaign, was the fact that a lot of it was very domesticated. And I did enjoy it, but one of the things I hated about that campaign is the fact that they gave you guns with sights on them that I hated, and all Call of Duties do this, which is why this one is so much fun for me, because I don't know who it is who develops those games that has the fetish for the holographic sight, but I don't want a holographic sight on everything, and that's what they used to do. They used to give you holographic sights on every gun. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if there were a holographic sight on the bloody knife, with how much they enjoyed using them. I wasn't a fan at all. But be careful on this doorway. There is a checkpoint, but for some reason, I don't know who does it, but there's a guy who loves throwing grenades at you when you're in this doorway that I'm about to approach. I dodged so many grenades trying to get this guy recorded, and I don't know who was throwing them, but whoever he is, he's a dick, and I don't like him very much, so you want to avoid it as best you can. But, I mean, this is not even fair, this gun is so good, it's the ultimate shit fist. People just can't defend against it. I mean, look at it, it's really powerful. It destroys vehicles, it destroys everything. And for some folk who play, regular on the first playthrough to enjoy the story, and then go on to veteran for the achievements, they're going to have this from Mission 1. This gun from Mission 1, you could probably do this entire campaign without dying. It's that much of... Look at this tank, how much does this tank take? Jesus Christ, it's like cabbage. Oh, grenade. What'd I tell you? Whoever that is, guy's a dick. But the zombie mode, apparently, you can't stream zombies yet. Actually, that's completely wrong because the game's out now. I think I was watching a live stream that said you couldn't stream zombies just yet, but I believe it was a recording and an archive of the live stream, which I find really interesting. Can you imagine people like Syndicate who kind of, they're the zombie guys? And there's a couple of other ones, I can't really remember the names of them, but there's a couple of guys that are renowned for zombies. And somebody once asked me, is zombies a British thing? I don't think so. I used to hate zombies, I used to think it were a pile of shit, but that's because I didn't know how it worked. As soon as I figured it out, it made a lot more sense, and I did enjoy it. But I can't play it to the extent that Syndicate does, because that to me is just kind of crazy. And that's what's really surprising, you know, about how big that guy's got as a YouTube commentator, because nobody else has been able to do essentially something single player and get really successful off it, because it's all usually multiplayer. So that guy's a genius. Say what you want about him, he's a genius. He found a niche and he got the success he deserves. But once you move inside, there's going to be a lot of dudes coming quite close, so this is where you either use your quick scoping abilities, even though we don't have quick draw, or you just take your time. If you've done what I've done, you do have the secondary. Oh, that pot's not going to help you, pal. If you do have the secondary with a millimeter scanner, you can always use that. But this sniper's just too much fun not to use it. It's just insane. I mean, look at that. I'm shooting through escalators now. It just doesn't make any sense. Crazy sniper rifle. It literally is the Far Sight. And if anybody doesn't get that reference, I feel kind of sad for you. But if anybody does, then you probably had a similar childhood to mine, where the N64 was king. But keep on pushing forward, keep on shooting dudes. You know, sit down, have a latte, do the normal Call of Duty things. I can't believe this is Veteran. I really can't. Even now, having played it twice, I am stunned how much they've changed the game. And I'm probably going to watch a bunch of walkthroughs on Veteran with commentary from other people, just to hear what they think. Because if they had half the ease that I did making this guide, it doesn't even feel like a Call of Duty. Which is kind of crazy, because, you know, in this day and age where the market is so oversaturated by people making content, yours has really got to stand out. And how will anybody's gameplay stand out for this particular game when no one's going to be needing it? And it obviously begs the question: is it worth doing the walkthrough? And I look at it like this. I look at it as a value proposition. If I buy a game and I'm going to play it, I might as well, you know, do it the justice it deserves and make a guide for it, because I've bought it and it gives me that extra longevity in a campaign I might not touch afterwards. But if I was, for instance, if I had 1 million subscribers, which I wish I did, but I don't, would I have the luxury of putting this much effort into something that wouldn't pay off? Or would I have got to the point where everybody watches everything, so they don't care what I put up, it's just a case of they just want to watch what I do? Which would be amazing, but I do think that is honeycoating a situation that is vastly different. Because if you've ever watched a Wings of Redemption video, or a commentary of his, or if you've watched any of the other big guys, they will all tell you that if you put up anything that isn't Call of Duty multiplayer, your views will be 1/3 the amount you stack up. And that is really sad. And it's sad because there are plenty of good games that I find enjoyable to watch that perhaps people don't. And the only thing I can think of is that other 2/3 is literally people that all they know is Call of Duty. They're those kids that are still at school who only play Call of Duty because all the friends do, and that's literally it. That's life for them, playing this multiplayer, because that's what the friends do, and they just follow the friends. You know, like the smokers, like the days of yore where back when you went to school, if someone smoked and you didn't, you weren't cool, so you were socially pressured into doing it, even though I never was, because I used to tell them to fuck off. But some people were, and now instead of, you know, getting pressured by the social norm of smoking, you're now getting pressured into the social norm of playing Call of Duty ad nauseum. What a completely ridiculous concept. Thanks for watching, and you take care now.